Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to another video. So today, this is video for week 2 of my cutting phase. So if you didn't see my first video, I introduced that I'm doing an 8-week fat loss phase, and I'm going to be filming week by week for you guys, giving you updates throughout every single week, and also just throwing in some tips and tricks and just how-tos if you are trying to also go into a fat loss phase. So for today's video, I thought that I would do what I eat in a day fat loss edition or cutting edition, just with lower calories. So this week I'm eating just over 1800 calories. So I'm at like 1830, I think, calories for the week. So that's a bit lower than I normally eat. I think normally I'm somewhere between 2000 and 2100 at maintenance, around there, maybe even a little bit over 2100. So I'm a few hundred calories in a deficit, and so far hasn't been too bad. Like last week was okay. There were some days where I felt a little bit hungrier, but really nothing drastic. And I think a big part of that is how I structure my meals and what I put into every single one of my meals, and I really make sure that I'm keeping everything high protein and that I have a good amount of fiber and that I space my meals out in a way where I'm not leaving too big of a gap for me to get really hungry and cranky and all of that. So I'm just gonna share all of that with you guys today. And step one of that is that I now actually track my coffee. So I don't track every single day because it's very easy after you've tracked it once to visualize and be pretty sure that you're putting in the exact same thing. But I mean, I put sugar and milk into my coffee. Sometimes I put a little bit of creamer. So those things add up if you're not aware of them. So that's the first thing that we're going to be doing this morning. Also, I really highly recommend getting a food scale if you don't have one. It might seem like more daunting and more intense to have a food scale than to just use like measuring spoons and cups. But it's actually so much easier. You just use this one thing and you don't have to worry about grabbing your cups, and if something on MyFitnessPal doesn't measure in cups, having to try to convert from cups to grams that's when it becomes really difficult and overwhelming. So I really recommend having a food scale. I really think it makes things just easier, quicker, and you're also just a lot more sure of what you're actually doing. Like, trust me, if you go right now and you grab one of your tablespoons and you grab a tablespoon of peanut butter and you measure that, I guarantee you that it's not going to be the same amount of grams that it says for a portion size for a tablespoon on the back of the label. So I just think that this is a much more efficient way to go about it. All right, so to measure the amount of sugar, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my coffee right on top. And then I'm going to hit the tare button, which brings it back down to 0. So right now it says 0 on here. And then just grab my spoon and grab what I visually think should be around like 5 or 6 grams. And I just start dropping in. And I look at how much that changed. So that's only 3 grams. So I can put a little bit more. That's 5. So there you go. This is about the 5 to 6 grams that I want it to be. So there we go. Nice, simple, easy. I don't have to worry. And then for the milk, because it is a liquid, then it's easy to use measuring cups. So that's what I'm going to do. If the label on the back is in measuring cups, then it's pretty safe to use measuring cups. But when it's in grams, just don't complicate your life and use the food scale. So I'm going to go ahead and use about 1/6 of a cup. Let's see how that goes. So I'm going to add a little bit more. So I ended up using 1/3 of a cup of milk. So now I know, and I can go and put it into MyFitnessPal. Delicious. So it is 8. It is 8 o'clock right now. And usually what I'm trying to do when I have the flexibility in the morning, I try to intermittently fast except for my coffee until at least 10-ish. Between 10 and 11 is when I like to have my breakfast if I have the option. If I have to go to school and it's either like I have it at 8 or I have to wait until past 12, then I'll have it right away at 8. But if I can wait, I like to have breakfast towards the end of the morning, just because I find it easier when I'm in a deficit to not eat in the morning and then eat a little bit more regularly from like 10 until dinner time. That is just how it works best for me. But intermittent fasting on its own is not a fat loss strategy unless you are in a deficit. Having a shorter eating window does not necessarily mean you're going to lose weight. If you're eating the same amount of calories or more within that shorter window, you're still not going to lose fat. So that deficit is really the key, and then everything else is just strategies that make it easier for you to be in a deficit. So for me, intermittent fasting helps me do that, so that is why I do it. Okay, it is now 10 o'clock and I'm starving, so I'm not gonna wait any longer. So I'm gonna make my typical breakfast, my absolutely every single day breakfast, which is my oatmeal bowl. So same thing, I always put my bowl or whatever right on top. I hit tare and then I measure exactly how much I want to put in. So I'm doing 45 grams of oats, which is just under half a cup, like a little bit less than half a cup of oats. There we go, that's 45 grams. All right, so up next I add collagen, which I don't measure because they have their own scoopers, so I just trust that the scoop is actually the size that is written on here. So that, and same thing with my protein. I don't measure the protein because, I mean, worst case, if I have extra protein, I'm not complaining. So I'm just gonna fill up my scooper and put my scoop of protein in there. And then what I definitely recommend that you measure is peanut butter. It is so easy to go overboard with peanut butter. So if you know ahead of time how many grams you want to put in there. So right now, let's say that this, so I click the tare again so that it says 0. And then I know that I want to keep it at, let's say 12-ish grams. So let's see, if I take this much and then I dump part of it in. So right now it says 8. And then if I dump a little bit more, 10. And then I'm gonna assume that with the rest, we're at 11. So that's perfect. And then lastly, I'm gonna add fruit. So I'm gonna add blueberries. And normally I would add a banana also, but I ran out. I have to go to the grocery store. So I'm just gonna add a few blueberries. I'll add a bit more since I don't have a banana. And that is it. That is the breakfast. So I'm gonna put on the screen exactly what this ends up being in carbs, protein, fats, and in total calories. And I'm gonna go eat this, and I'm probably gonna make a grocery list, go to the grocery store, and I'll see you guys again right before lunch. Big grocery haul, and I'm honestly not looking forward to having to drag all of that upstairs, but it is what it is. Okay, on my way home, I remembered that I wanted to have a little chat with you guys because I had this chat on my stories this morning on Instagram, and in my mind, I had also said it here on YouTube, but I didn't. So speaking of my cut, so yesterday I had a girls' night for one of my friends who's getting married next summer, and we did like a cheese and charcuterie board, and we had wine, and so obviously I didn't track. There's no point in me trying to track any of that because I already knew I was gonna go over my deficit. Like, there was no doubt about that. So instead of stressing about it, I just enjoyed my evening, didn't worry about tracking. I was aware the day before, like I made sure that I had more protein than I normally would have in my first 2 meals, and I had a little bit less fat, a little bit less carbs, but I didn't skip meals to make up for that dinner, and I didn't do anything too extreme because that never works. If I would have gone into that dinner starving, I would have went even more overboard on the cheese and the bread and all that. So just a tip, remember that one bad meal or one meal that does not fit into your macros and your calories is not the end of the world. And also, I'm not starving myself today either. I'm not trying to make up for it. I'm not trying to compensate for it. I'm just starting over with a new day, sticking to my deficit. I'm just going to try to be really, really good about my deficit this week and track every day and just make sure that I'm really on top of it, because that's all you can do, one day at a time. When the day is over, don't drag any negative emotions about how you did the day before into the next day. Just try to do your best that day. So that was the little chat that I wanted to have, and now I'm gonna head home and I'll do a very quick grocery haul. I'm not gonna show you guys everything, but I'll talk a little bit about how I grocery shop. All right, so weekly grocery haul. So I've shared this tip on my Instagram, and I share this tip with all of my coaching clients. And I truly believe that if you grocery shop this way, you're just setting yourself up for success. So first of all, like I did earlier, think ahead of time of what meals you think you're gonna make. You don't have to have them all planned out, but have at least some ideas so that you can make a really good grocery list based off of those ideas. Then with your grocery list, when you walk into the grocery store, start by just going around the grocery store. Skip the aisles. That's where all the temptation is, where all the processed, packaged junk is. So if you don't go straight into there, you're already avoiding so much temptation. So walk in, start with the outside, which is where you have the produce, which is what a lot of this is. So I have the spinach, I have some onions, asparagus, broccoli, 12,000 bananas, a lot of tomatoes, mushrooms, apples, peppers. Like, all of your produce is usually right at the entrance, which is fantastic. It's where most of your groceries should come from. Then as you continue around the perimeter, then you're gonna get to the meat section. So I got some frozen shrimp, I got chicken breast, chicken thighs, I got some trout at the bottom, extra lean ground beef, and extra lean ground turkey. So honestly, once you finish produce and the meat section, if you eat meat, if you don't eat meat, that's fine. But if you do eat meat, once you're done with that, you should have honestly like 60 to 70% of your grocery list checked off. Then you continue on. Egg whites, eggs, this is also where you would have other dairy, yogurts, that kind of stuff. And then you get to the frozen aisle where I bought this frozen Thai style vegetable mix, which we love to put into stir fries, and honestly might be what I'm making for dinner tonight when I think about it. And honestly, that's pretty much the end of my grocery haul. So the only reasons that I would go into the aisles is if I need like canned beans and stuff, which I already have, or if I need rice or oatmeal, which I already have. Other than that, honestly, why would I want to just walk around the aisles and have all kinds of cookies and chocolate and temptation just staring right at you? So, telling you, use that trick, commit to it, stick with it, and once you get home, if you haven't bought a lot of junk, odds are you're probably not gonna eat a lot of junk that week. So, this is just a really good way to start working on that habit of just mostly eating nourishing whole foods. So there we go. I'm gonna put all of this away, and then honestly I probably am gonna think about what I'm gonna make for lunch because it's 12:45. I'm getting a little bit hungry, so show you guys that when we get there. Okay, just a little moment of appreciation. I just got these like jogger loungewear pants from Maxi, the grocery store that I was just at, and look how cute they are. They are so comfy, very flattering, and they were like $14, so that is a win. Also, I just remembered that I have a new activewear brand that I want to share with you guys today. So they actually gifted me a pair of leggings and a pair of joggers to review and share with you guys. So I just got those in, I think 2-3 days ago, and I'm gonna try them on for the first time before I make dinner and just give you guys my overall impressions. Okay, so these are their cross waist leggings. I got this really nice like maroon, dark red burgundy color, which I think is so nice. They are really soft, really nice color. They have pockets, which is a win. High-waisted, flattering, and honestly so stretchy, so soft. I would have to say my only thing with these leggings is, you know, when leggings are so soft that they kind of slide off of you a little bit. Like, I haven't worked out in them yet, but I do feel like I would be pulling them up a little bit just because of how soft and smooth they are. But I will do a workout with them this week, and I'll probably update you guys on my next video on how that goes. But just the feel of them, like, I'm for sure gonna be wearing these in like my everyday life all the time because they're so comfortable. It's more just if I'm doing like high intensity workouts that I'm a little bit worried that they might slide off. But like upper body days would be completely fine. Maybe even leg day, you just would have to pull them up every once in a while, I think. I'll update you guys, like I said, in the next video after I've done a workout. But these are so cute. I'm gonna try on the joggers, and I'm gonna share the discount code that they gave me for you guys. They have a 20% discount code, which is amazing. And they also just had their first anniversary, like birthday of the HALARA brand. It's HALARA, by the way, I didn't even mention. These are from HALARA, which is a newer brand, like I said. They just had their first anniversary, so I think their website already has sales, and then on top of that you can use my code, which I'm popping right here, for an extra 20% off, which is amazing if you want to try out a new brand. So let's try on the joggers. All right, so these are the joggers that I got. I don't remember the name, but I will put it on the screen for sure for you guys. So these are very different than any other type of joggers that I have. The color is slate blue, I believe, and it's really nice. It's like this bluish, greenish gray, like hard to explain, but really nice color, I find. It's really cool. They don't have pockets, which would make them even better. They have a really stretchy waistband, as you can see, and it's sort of like a little bit like a windbreaker material. So they're really comfortable. They don't feel tight anywhere. In both of these, I got my regular size small, so definitely true to size. So yeah, really cool. I'm really excited. Thank you so much, HALARA, for gifting these to me. And like I said, you can use my discount code if you're interested in trying out for yourself and getting a pretty good deal out of it. So there we have it. Okay, so for lunch, I'm actually gonna make one of those meals that's quite a bit harder to track, because I want to show you guys how I would go about tracking a meal that is not like all separated and defined and easy to individually put in. So I'm gonna make like a Mexican style burrito bowl, but I'm gonna make a big batch because I'm gonna use an entire thing of extra lean ground turkey to make it. So obviously what I'm gonna put in there is gonna be more than just for one meal, because this is 450 grams of extra lean ground turkey. And because everything gets cooked like in the same pot, I won't be able to specifically measure every little ingredient that is going into this one portion that I'm having for lunch today. So what I do in situations like this is that I write down the ingredient, the portions of every single ingredient that I put in the entire batch. And then when I make my portion, I try to like visually, to the best of my abilities, see what percentage of the whole thing I'm eating. So once I know exactly what's in the whole thing, I'm gonna try to be like, okay, I'm gonna separate everything and try to take a third of that entire portion and just track a third of everything that I put in there. So is it 100% accurate? No. Do I have any other better way of doing it? Not really. Like, the only other way I can think of doing it is actually cooking everything individually and then putting things separately into the bowl, which, to be honest, I'm not willing to do that because that's a lot more work, a lot more dishes to wash, and it's just not that big of a deal, okay? Even if you're off by a little bit when you're tracking, it's not the end of the world. Listen, if you're prepping for like a bikini competition and you have to be super on top of your macros because these are like the last 2 pounds of fat that you have to lose to like maybe get a medal or whatever in a competition, then heck yeah, do it that way. You know, be like as specific and strict as possible. For my goals and for most of your goals out there, this is probably gonna be good enough. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna write on the screen what the estimated portion that I get out of everything that I put in my meal, and I'll show you guys the final product. Okay, so the first part that I will be tracking is rice. So I want to get 100 grams of cooked rice. Also, make sure when you write this in MyFitnessPal that you search for cooked rice, not uncooked rice, because it's a very different story. So I'm gonna try to get 100 grams. That's 65. 105, perfect. So that's gonna be my rice portion. And then for the rest, honestly, I am eyeballing about a third of everything that I made, which would be a third of the can of black beans, a third of the ground turkey, so about 150 grams of ground turkey, and about a full pepper. So there we go. That is lunch. All right, so I also just made myself an iced coffee with the Starbucks pumpkin spice latte creamer. So I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna work on my computer for probably the rest of the day, and then I'll see you guys at dinner time. Full day of eating. For dinner, we're doing a Mediterranean salad with some trout. So I've already put tomatoes, red peppers, cucumbers, shallots, chickpeas in here, salt, pepper, some basil, some olive oil. We're gonna do a bit more for the dressing, but we haven't decided yet. We're gonna we're gonna throw couscous on top of this. For the trout, just salt, pepper? Just salt, pepper. Just salt, pepper on the trout. We're gonna try air frying the trout for the first time. Hopefully it'll be nice and crispy and delicious. And hopefully it won't stink up the apartment. We'll see.
We're gonna open the doors just in case.
We're gonna open the doors just in case because stinky. So that's for dinner. I will note down all the macros like I did for the other two meals, and I will share that with you guys at the end of the meal. Final product, so the trout with the couscous and veggie salad. I'm gonna put everything on the screen, and to be honest, if I wasn't in a bit of a deficit right now, I would add some feta on top of that. It would make it even better, but there we go. Alright guys, that is it for this week's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you learned a little bit. I get asked about how I track and different tracking tips so often, so hopefully seeing me do it a little bit gave you guys a bit of an insight. And if you have any more questions, whether they're super broad or super specific, put them in the comments and I will make sure to answer them in the next few videos. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already, and stay tuned for the next few vlogs throughout this fat loss phase that I'm going through. That is it, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!